Hey, Zuri.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Good. I'm Kayla. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of
Super
course.
excited to talk to you about your new podcast, Hot Happy Mess. Just by the title, I'm already a fan. I think I can relate to that. So, can you just tell us a little bit about what we're going to be hearing on this podcast?
Yeah, so my hope with the podcast, my goal for it has always been to create a space where we can just celebrate our magic in the middle of life's messes. And the emphasis there is really on the word middle. For a long time, for most of my 20s, I was so ambitious. I still am, but I got caught up in this thing where if work wasn't going the way I hoped, or if everything wasn't aligned and perfect, well, then I couldn't find a way to be happy yet. You know what I mean? I'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, if I check this box or I check this one, then all the good vibes are going to come and I'm going to be like at peace and positive. But that never comes. Like life just ebbs and flows. And if you're waiting for some non existent date when everything aligns, you'll be waiting for your entire life to be happy and enjoy what you've got. So this is just about how to infuse our lives every week with a little more mindfulness. It's fun, it's informative, it's a mix of just real talk with my girls, like my closest best friends, and then amazing therapists and experts who can help us, put the stamp of officiality, is that a word? To all of the advice that me and my girlfriends are giving each other. So it's a little bit
And
of
you
a
talk about this thing called best life burnout. Can you explain that?
yeah. So I am an advocate for living your best life. So I hope like that is 100% it. I'm all about best life. And for the longest, I was chasing my best life, and at some point realized my best life cannot contain burnout, and in the quest for my best life I'm getting burnt out. So it's really just about acknowledging that we can have a great life, we can live our best lives, and we can still take the time to step back, slow down, and not constantly strive or chase. So it's just all about balance. And so this is giving you wellness tips and things to help infuse your life with more joy and health and happiness. But it's also saying it's not that serious, y'all. Though,
Hmm.
like if you're not getting this perfectly right, if your version of this doesn't look as Pinteresty as the next girl's version, like we good. It's still good.
I can relate to that so much. I'm in my mid 20s and I'm always
Yeah.
just striving for that. So I feel like
Yeah.
this is something that we all need to hear
Yeah.
too. And your
Yeah.
topics are yeah, and your topics are so real and so relatable. So what was your process for choosing them and coming up with the ideas? How did you do that?
So the way that I sort of envisioned the show is I wanted to channel that, classic daytime talk show format. So I think of some of the greats, icons, people I look up to and admire. Oprah Winfrey, her show, the Oprah Winfrey Show, Sally Jesse Raphael, we had Ricky Lake, something about that format. As a kid who grew up on it, I wanted to turn into audio form. And so I came up with this format that feels very daytime-ish talk, even though it's an audio. And so you'll get my solo commentary, and then you'll get that panel of experts or that really professional discussion. And then you'll get maybe a real woman, real story segment, which is when I bring on, my everyday listeners to share some of their truths and their experiences. So that was my vision for it. That's kind of how I came up with it. When it comes to the topics, we're talking about everything. So anything that has to do with whatever you want your best life to look like, we're discussing. If it's health, if it's sex, relationships, dating, career, babies. Maybe I don't want to have babies. There's going to be an episode exploring that. You might be team no kids. The thing that ties all of these episodes together is that it's all through a lens that prioritizes self-care and wellness. So yeah, you could kill it as a mom, but is this an episode or a conversation that's going to help you kill it as a mom and still be kind to yourself? Because
Mhm.
that extra part is the thing that this podcast is committed to.
And some of these topics are pretty vulnerable. Like they get pretty deep too. So do you ever kind of like get nervous or were you a little hesitant to just put it all out there for us?
Girl, I was having a whole panic attack the day before launch, the day of launch. I was like obsessively rocking back and forth and just like refreshing on Apple Podcasts, looking at the reviews. Like, oh God. Because yeah, in the moment, like I talk for a living, I host shows, so I'm not nervous in that sense, but that's why this is even trippier because I'm being really vulnerable, which is not necessarily what I have to do for certain portions of my day job in entertainment news. So when I'm on the mic by myself, I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm still on. See, I'm gonna tell everything. And then after I give it to my engineer, I'm like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Can we delete 17 to 234? I might have gone too far. But what I've loved is with everyone who's hitting me up or texting or DMing saying what they like, it's the vulnerability. It's the stuff that I sometimes thought twice about or maybe was going to cut out and kept, that they're like, girl, when you said that, I broke down in tears. Or, oh my gosh, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And those were the things that I think related to others because it's coming from a real woman like myself. Like I've gone through the same things.
And your career has been mostly television and on camera. So how is it switching over to a podcast, and why a podcast?
It's great switching over to a podcast because I don't have to glue on strip lashes or have a full face of makeup. I can just kind of roll out in my PJs and talk to a microphone for a little bit from the comfort of my home. So that's great from a convenience standpoint. I think what I love most about this format is there's an opportunity to really feel intimate with my listener. And, you know, I've been in television for more than a decade now. And the closest that I've gotten to this feeling is on my YouTube channel. I started with YouTube like years and years and years ago. And that's where I felt the closest to my supporters and my fan base. This feels like that. Like when it's just me talking to a microphone, it's kind of like you could be talking to anyone. So I imagine my best friend and just kind of lean into it. And I think that's something that only the podcasting space can provide, you know, like I can be with you in your kitchen while you're cooking. You don't have to have your eyes on me or the screen, but you can still get the content and get the goods while living your life.
And this podcast is in conjunction with The Black Effect. Can you tell us a little bit about that partnership?
Yes. So the Black Effect Podcast Network is absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful to be a part of it, to be, you know, one of the first shows to roll out on this network. Charlemagne the God is an amazing friend and an amazing talent and just an all-around amazing guy. And he is just so impressive, especially to me, because he has such a commitment to giving back, to reaching back and helping pull other people forward, and equipping them with the resources to realize their dreams and to empower the people around them. And he just signed a massive, exciting deal with iHeart. And in conjunction with that deal came the Black Effect Podcast Network. And it's all about amplifying Black voices, important conversations, and things that are relevant and important to our communities. And it's really exciting to be a part of the network. So I'm happy.
And you've had such an amazing career, you know, between E! News, Access Hollywood. Do you have any advice for aspiring entertainment journalists or any type of journalist, anyone who's trying to break into the business? Because it is a tough business to get into. Do you have any advice for any of those people?
It's so tough. It's exhausting, y'all. I get it. Trust me. I was grinding for years before I got what I thought was my breakthrough. And then it took like 5 more of those breakthroughs before I actually got what I thought that those first 5 were going to be. My advice would just be like, it's not for the faint of heart, but, you know, stay patient, grind it out, be consistent. The blessing and curse of this new age we're in is anyone with a microphone and a camera can say, I'm a TV host, I'm a journalist, I'm a whatever. That does not make you one, to be clear. And so it can be discouraging to the real journalists, to the real anchors, to the real reporters out there. Because I've talked to them. I try to mentor young reporters, especially who are busting their butts in local news markets, grinding it out, or, you know, trying to stick to true entertainment news journalism when other people are just giving into sensational stories and clickbait. And so it's hard. But I would encourage those people to stay consistent, because what a lot of people do is start things, but not many people finish. And the race really does come, at least in my experience, to the one who endures. There are other people who started with me who sometimes for understandable reasons, sometimes life happens, they tap out, and it's like, man, if they could have given it 1 more year, 2 more years, I just know they could have killed it. So patience is key. And then also be consistent with your content, create your own content. Don't wait for someone to let you into a room or put you on a screen. Create the content that you see yourself being the face of. Even if 5 people are watching it on your YouTube channel, it will give you the opportunity to sharpen your skills, to develop your voice, and to hone a perspective. And that's the only way to stand out these days. It's not enough to be a talking head. It's not enough to just read the words on the teleprompter. You need a point of view. You need a perspective. You need to know why you believe the things that you believe, and you've got to be willing to stand behind them, because everything we say on social will haunt us forever.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, that's great advice. I think that was a little bit of a selfish question too, because I wanted to know too. So thank you for that.
No, please take it all. Take all the advice.
Thank you so much. And then my last question: do you have an episode or a topic that you're really looking forward to getting out there, that when you did it, you were like, yeah, this is my favorite?
So one episode that's coming up is, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, I'll blank it up, but Self-Love is Sexy AF. And I'm excited about that one because my journey to self-love was such a process. And if someone treated me the way that I treated myself in hindsight in my 20s, I would leave in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even stay for the dinner. But then here I was completely just like disregarding myself, not standing up for myself in situations that I knew I should have, not loving on and spoiling myself in the way that I wanted some dude to love and spoil me. So I'm just excited for that one because I know a lot of other ladies can relate. And then what I'm really excited is something we haven't done yet. It's coming, but we are organizing the podcast into series. So this first series, the first 6 episodes are about protecting your peace and mindfulness and happiness. The next series is the relationship and love series. And I just am such a girl. I just love talking about relationships and dating. And we're diving into all of it. Singleness, marriage. We might do a little throuple exploration in an episode. Yeah. Valentine's Day, whether you're single, whether you're with someone. So I love love, and I'm excited for that series.
Oh, well, this sounds so exciting. I'm so excited to listen to it. For real, it's going to be so good.
Thank you. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Apparently those really matter.
Okay, so, I'll do it.
Shameless request.
Absolutely will. And I'll tell everyone who's watching this to do it too. So thank you so much for joining me. It was really such a pleasure to talk to you.
Of course. So nice speaking with you too. Thank you, Kayla.